sure to tune in to At Home with Christ Ministry with Julie Thomas, broadcasting Monday nights at 8 p.m. live on licmc.net, radio, Facebook, and YouTube.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of the At Home with Christ podcast. On this side of the podcast today, we are talking about a man who was driving in his car and he looked in the rearview mirror of his car and the reflection was there. And we are also reminded of a few things that this story brings out. The first point is the song by Michael Jackson, "The Man in the Mirror." When Michael Jackson was saying, "I'm asking you to change your ways." Jesus is also asking us to change our ways. The man in the mirror is Jesus, everybody, everyone, and he is telling us all to change our ways, brothers and sisters. Jesus is also wanted us to know that we need to clean up the insides of our spiritual dishes and our outsides will be cleaned. Also, Matthew 27:3 tells us the account of a man named Judas who knew he had betrayed Jesus and sinned, but it was too late. And this point comes up because before we can sit down to break bread again with each other, we all know what our intentions are. We all know the ugliness and the sins that we have in each other. Now, the man in the mirror was actually looking at a reflection of Jesus. But Jesus is who we should be. And the man in the mirror didn't know that at first, that Jesus is our reflection of who we should be. Now we're asking you this question. When you look in the mirror, who do you see? Do you see yourself as Jesus? Or do you see yourself as someone else? Because if you don't see yourself when you look in the mirror as Jesus, then what do you need to do? You need to do just like the song Michael Jackson said, change your ways. Clean up your spiritual dishes before it is too late. Now, you cannot break bread with anyone else and turn around and harm them like Judas did. He knew that he had wronged Jesus. He knew that he had betrayed Jesus. So we're asking you, are you going to become a Judas? Are you going to betray someone? Because every day we meet with our friends, we meet with our brothers and sisters, and we meet with other people. But deep down inside, we are covering a hatred type of hate that causes us to what people, that causes us to betray each other. So are you going to betray someone today? Are you going to betray someone tomorrow? Let's hope not. Let's hope that you don't become a Judas and you don't begin to betray someone, that you're sitting down to the table breaking bread before it is too late. So this man who was looking at himself, who also stared back at the mirror into Jesus. And Jesus asked him if he had cleaned up his spiritual stuff. The man was just sitting in the car, wondering, what is he talking about, my spiritual stuff? I'm a good person. But deep down on the inside, this man knew he was what? He was not clean on the inside. He just smiled and stared back at Jesus and thought to himself, I don't know what the man in the mirror is talking about. I am the best person I could be. But let me tell you something, people. Even if you think you're the best person you can be, you are not the best person you could be. You are not Jesus Christ. We all are sinners. And just like the song says, I'm asking you to change your ways. No, Jesus is asking you to change your ways. So you need to just fess up and you need to you need to change your ways. You need to clean up those spiritual dishes before you even sit down to break bread with anybody. Now, the man looking in the mirror knew today who he had betrayed, like you and I know who we have betrayed today. You can look your partner, your friend, everyone else in the eyes, and you can say and smile and say anything, but you know deep down in your heart that you have betrayed somebody. Just like that person you sat down with, and they betrayed somebody. So we all have that sense of betrayal in us. But what are we going to do about it, people? What are you going to do about it? Are you going to continue going on betraying somebody? Are you going to continue just sitting there at the table with them, smiling at them, thinking everything's okay, when everything is not okay because you betrayed me? You betrayed that person. You betrayed that person. So you keep sitting there just like Judas was, and you keep betraying people, and you keep betraying people, and you keep hurting people, and you keep hurting people. When are you going to stop this betrayal? So the question I'm asking you, who have you betrayed today, or who will you betray today? If not someone you love, will you betray Jesus just like Judas did? And remember, your hatred and sin is the root of the cause of your betrayal. If your hatred and your sin that you carry in your heart is the cause of your betrayal. But Jesus and our Father tells us that we must, what people? We must forgive those that hurt us. So even though someone betrayed us, we must learn to forgive them. Just as Jesus forgave Judas. But we must learn to forgive them. We must be able to look at ourselves in our mirrors and see the reflection of Jesus. Because if we don't see the reflection of Jesus, then we're not what people? We are not clean spiritually on the inside. Now, at this point, the man in the mirror had to decide who he wanted to follow, Jesus or continue to sin. So who do you think the man in the car who was looking in the rearview mirror, who will he follow? Will he follow Jesus or will he continue to sin? Who will you follow? Will you continue to sin or will you follow Jesus? Now, Hebrews 4:12 tells us that God's word discerns our hearts and our intentions. That's why a lot of people don't read the Bible, because it is a reflection of who they should be. Just like the mirror. The mirror is a reflection of who you are on the outside, but Jesus is a reflection of who you should be on the inside. And then until next time, we're going to continue so we can learn more and see what happened to the man who was driving in his car. And I want to ask you this question. I want you to answer it. I want you to think about it. Seriously thinking about it. Who will you betray today? Who will you betray today? And when you look in that mirror, who do you see? And I want you to be able to tell me that. Who do you really see when you look in the mirror? And until next time, thank you.
Be sure to tune in to At Home with Christ Ministry with Julie Thomas, broadcasting Monday nights at 8 p.m. live on licmc.net, radio, Facebook, and YouTube.
Hello, I am Julie Thomas, and the name of my podcast is it's a Well Water Christian podcast for my social media podcast show, which is At Home with Christ. And now I want to tell you about my latest TV show, which is going to be At Home with Christ TV. And you can reach that and you can see all the episodes on Shrimp TV, on shrimp.com. So that you can go to this new platform, which is shrimp.com, and look for At Home with Christ TV under London. It is a fantastic show, and we hope that you will